Okay. Okay, are we good? Are we good? Are the levels okay? Yes, maybe. Okay. Well, we're just gonna try it. We're just gonna try it. So, like it says in the title, test stream today. Test stream today, and we are doing it. We're doing it, and I do have some good news to share, although whether or not it's actually helping us out with the quality of the stream, I don't know yet. I'll have to keep checking. Sorry, I'm also checking the stream on my phone. Okay, so I hope so. So here's the deal. First of all, welcome back to stream. I've been wanting to get back to the streaming since the last stream was, I don't know, kind of whiny and prolonged, and I don't think there was anybody in the chat, so it was a whole thing, right? But this time around, we do have some good news. So first of all, fingers crossed that video quality at least looks improved compared to normal. Checking on my phone, it still looks a little weird, but I'm guessing that's just down to settings that I have from the old days. And here's why I'm saying the old days. It's because the long-running internet issues that I have been experiencing at this particular apartment for the whole time that I've been here, they're done. They seem to be gone now. Maybe. Basically, I've tried two providers before, and neither one could provide me stuff like solid service and modern speeds. It just wasn't happening. However, I switched to yet another provider, literally the only other choice, in my neighborhood, and completely different ballgame, completely different setup. And the speeds that I'm currently getting, I literally set it up yesterday, by the way. The speeds that I'm currently getting are literally 10 to 12 times faster, both for download and upload speeds. Actually, it's probably 20 times faster in terms of upload speeds. So, even if this particular stream still looks a little blocky and pixelated, that's just because I haven't ironed out the settings yet, but it will be much improved. Give me 1 second. I want to close the window, too, to get better sound. We're fine now. Perfect. This song, really? Sorry, I just put on some video game music. But I'm not crazy about this song. Pokemon music. Do people like Pokemon music anymore? Anyway. So that's very good news for me. I'm very, very, very excited about that, especially if it actually holds up over time. If I continue to get like contemporary internet speeds, that changes a whole lot of stuff for, of course, the channel. Not only streaming, but also uploading stuff. Previously, it's taken me like, I don't know, between 2 and 8 hours to upload a video that's like, I don't know, 15 minutes to about 25 minutes long. Not great. Not great. And obviously the streaming has been an issue for a long time, where just the upload speeds weren't cutting it. Sorry, but this is probably boring, so I'll skip ahead. But this is why I'm very excited. I'm very excited to get back into streaming. I will hopefully have a consistent streaming schedule once again. Very soon, because the other side to all this stuff is that I'm currently working 4 different jobs, literally 4 different jobs, and it's a lot. It's only been like about a month and a half ish, but it's a lot to handle. It's a lot to balance, and I still don't really know how my schedule is going to shake out. That's all. That's all. So once I'm completely sure of what, my weekly schedule is and when I actually have free time on which days, I'll just say, okay, this is our streaming day. I would like to do at least 1 day a week when we can do the streaming, and just have it consistent like it used to be. It used to be on Thursdays at like 6 p.m. Anyway, So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that very soon, and I will also hopefully have some new videos up very soon. Again, it's just scheduling and time. Like I just haven't had. It takes a very long time to make and publish a video, at least for me, and I just haven't had the time. So fingers crossed that we're on the upswing here and that we can get some of the momentum back. And honestly, I like streaming. I think streaming has gone best for the channel when I did have a really consistent schedule. And I was able to say, okay, it's this time every week. If you can make it live, great. If you can only watch the VOD, later on, that's fine too. And that worked pretty well, and we would usually get a decent amount of chatter and things going on. And I just had a lot of fun with it. I just had a lot of fun chatting with people. That said, it was also a lot of work to set all that stuff up. And that's fine. I'd like to get back to that. It just takes time. It's just a process. That's all. But yeah, for the meantime, I am very, very happy that things are working much better than they have been for so long. I mean, it's actually been, what, 6 years? I think 6 years going on 7 years that I've been in this particular apartment, and the internet's been terrible the whole time. The whole time from day one, it's just been awful. So I'm very excited. I hope you're excited as well. I apologize for kind of being MIA from the channel for the past month or so. But I'm into it. I still want to do stuff on the channel a whole bunch. And I really like talking to people through the channel and through the live streams and Discord and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm into it. I'm happy to be here. And today, it is basically a test stream, and there are settings I'll have to iron out and stuff later on. But for now, I'm just going to chat. I'm just going to talk for a while. You can kind of consider this like a very long video or almost a podcast style thing. If we have people chatting, that's cool. But if not, I would just like this to be a nice little VOD. People can watch and do some stuff that I haven't done for quite a while here on the streams, which is like look at animation news, talk about some video game stuff, just all the things that I like to talk about. And I haven't really been able to do that for a while. So let's see, what should we get into first? Well, we do have Cartoon Brew here. So that's always a good way to kind of get started and to inform me of like what the big happenings are in animation at the moment. And right away, I see that, remember this? This was announced a long time ago. This is a Pixar series, kind of a Bad News Bears premise, I suppose. So I don't know how, it's not even out yet, so I don't know how much we can really glean from this, and I'm not going to go through a whole video interview. That's not what we're doing today. But hopefully they have, do they have some info on when it's actually going to release? Of the nearly finished series. By the way, I think that nearly finished should be hyphenated, but that's just my editor brain. I don't know what style guide they're using. Yep, a lot more to animate. Okay, this is actually not the most helpful, but anyway, that is coming out later this year. Win or lose, I assume, exclusively to Disney Plus. So there you go. But I am interested in that. I don't know. I mean, I guess we have had a couple of hints, right? We've had hints of, what do you call it? Hints of Pixar series. Well, now, obviously, there was that Monsters, Inc. series, which I really wasn't that crazy about. But that was a full-on show. I think that worked really well. And what else? They had, oh my gosh, what else did they have? They had that series of Doug shorts, Doug from Up. I actually liked those. I was very late to the game on those ones. But that was actually a lot of fun. But yeah, those were like, I don't know, 5-minute episodes, something in that range. The Monsters, Inc. show, I think, was 11-minute episodes. I'd have to double check. But otherwise, yeah, cool. This will be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, the art direction is very Pixar, very much contemporary Pixar specifically. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. U.S. companies own nearly half of Europe's kids' channels. Is this surprising? I mean, I guess there's value in having it as a headline on a site, but I feel like we kind of already knew that. This is an ad for some kind of software. We don't need to worry about that. Anime Expo highlights: Pantene stocking, Pokemon Concierge. Oh, sorry, Hugo. Your notification is showing there through Steam. I should probably hide that. Sorry, Ugo. If that's showing on the stream in the VOD, I'll see if I can change that. Nimona. Nimona is something we need to talk about. It's almost definitely something that I need to make a video about. So if you're not familiar with what Nimona is a new animated feature film. I would say not necessarily just for kids. I would say it's probably aimed at more of like a tween or teen audience for the most part. I don't know if it's based on like a YA series or anything like that, or if it's just pure original property. But the story behind Nimona, as far as I remember, and this is something that I learned when I was doing research into the Peanuts movie, which was produced by Blue Sky Animation, and that was released 2015, somewhere around the mid-2010s. I was doing research for that and learning more about Blue Sky. Obviously, Blue Sky had been around since basically the late 90s into the early 2000s. I guess Ice Age was one of their big hits. I think Blue Sky also did Robots with Ewan McGregor and Robin Williams and all the great cast. So, anyway, long story short, Nimona, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Nimona was one of the projects that Blue Sky was working on around the time that the studio was picked up by Disney. So they were just flat out acquired by Disney in whatever year that was, a few years back at this point. They were working on Nimona, and there are elements to Nimona that involve gay romance or just, identity in general. I think there's potentially some non-binary gender identity stuff going on. I'd have to double check again. I actually haven't seen the movie yet, so this is all just based off Wikipedia stuff I read a while back. That stuff was going on. There's LGBTQA content in this movie. And when they got picked up by Disney, despite all their, protestations of like, oh, we really support and like we love that community and we do a lot to try to add positive depictions of members of that community in our movies. They've tried to capitalize that and like what LeFou, is it LeFou? In the Beauty and the Beast remake, they're like, oh, he's technically gay, or like there's a gay kiss in the third Star Wars sequel trilogy movie. However, they picked up Blue Sky and they said, look, we don't want this. We don't want this. We don't want you to work on this movie. Stop working on this movie. So Nimona got canceled. I don't know if it was only in pre-production at the time or in full production at the time or what, but long story short, it got axed. Disney just straight up said, don't do this. And by everything that I've read, it was very much because of that content. It was because there was, gay couples or something, or potentially a gay kiss or something like that. So there you go. What would seem to be a kind of hypocritical stance from one of the biggest, media entities on the planet. So I don't know if members of Blue Sky then left to make Nimona, or if they just sold the rights to the story basically and said, look, you guys, someone else can make it. But because of all that background and because it's apparently performing pretty well, I guess, on Netflix, it's straight to streaming, unfortunately, so it's not getting a big theatrical release. But either way, it's doing okay now. I have heard a decent amount of buzz about it just online since its release. But I'm definitely very, very interested to actually watch the movie and talk about it. And beyond the sort of controversial stuff behind the scenes, I am especially interested in just working out the... otherwise, I just think it looks very interesting. I think it looks like a neat movie. The art direction seems really compelling. and of course the animation itself, like the movement and motion, looks great. So yeah, that's something I will be watching pretty soon if I can manage it, and I'll try to make a video as well. I just think that would be a lot of fun. That's Nimona. I'm not gonna. Well, I guess we can check out the article really quick. Debuts at number 9 on Netflix top 10. Okay, so that's overall. That's not just like animated stuff on Netflix. That's just okay. And Paw Patrol is number 6. That's a very interesting. What do we say? Juxtaposition, I guess, to add here. And it is kind of nice too that Netflix even mentions that they share the information on their top 10 streaming movies or shows or whatever, because we don't tend to get a lot of info of like, you know, behind the scenes or stats of the various streaming services. You kind of have to dig a little bit even to find like total number of subscribers or retention, subscriber retention. By the way, also sorry to some of my other Steam friends. I'm going to disable notifications, hopefully, or just close out of Steam. I don't think I need Steam right now. I might play something a little bit later, but we'll see about that. Apologies to Steam friends and getting the notifications here. But anyway, what else do they say here? The bad news is that Nimona's 5.5 million viewer hours are a mere fraction of Pinocchio's 28 million after 3 days. And further behind the Sea Beasts. Oh no! See, that's an issue for me, just because I don't like the Sea Beast at all. I really don't. I don't connect with that one. Although here we have, you know, okay, apparently Nimona's doing really well with the critics. Awesome, and they're just like, by the way, Sea Beast was popular when it came out. I hated Sea Beast. I think I made a video about that one, right? I did not like that movie. Like, it really wasn't for me, and it felt like it was trying so hard to be classic, not necessarily golden age Disney traditional animation, but it definitely felt like late 90s into early 2000s Disney, as well as competitor stuff. Like Road to El Dorado was DreamWorks, right? But that too kind of, I don't know, I think there's a similar vibe, a similar tone between something like Sea Beast, Road to El Dorado, arguably even Emperor's New Groove, although Emperor's New Groove is just superior in every way and also is a flat-out comedy as opposed to like an adventure movie. Anyway, but there you go. So it seems that Nimona is not performing quite as well as, many of us had hoped. It's doing okay. Critics love it. It has a good chance, I think, of getting an Oscar nomination at the very least way at the end of this year. But for now, it's not quite there, and that's too bad. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. I said it's a test stream, all right? So you gotta cut me the tiniest bit of slack if I just leave the microphone muted for 30 seconds. Anyway, catch up. I've seen a lot of ads for Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. I've been kind of excited about it just based on, like, it seems really weird, but at the same time, very DreamWorks, very slightly old-fashioned DreamWorks movie, and trying to appeal to specifically, like, a tween audience, I would say. And uh-oh, here we are. And oh my gosh, the opening weekend was 5.2 million? Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. Yeah, no. Uh-oh. That's very sad. I'm very sad about this. I this is another one that I haven't seen quite yet, so I can't speak to the quality of the movie. But just based on where DreamWorks is right now and what they've been releasing somewhat, recently, meaning like the last 3 or 4 years, this seemed nice. This seemed like yet another original property. I didn't get the sense that it would become some kind of big franchise. But still, maybe a nice one-off movie. They do those every once in a while. But yeah, 5.2 million in an opening weekend. Let's compare real quick. Let's take a look at what the Mario movie got in its opening weekend. Let's see. Let's do some comparisons here. Okay. Oh my. Oh my. So the Mario movie opened up with 146 million, and by the way, that's domestic only. That's only in the US. I don't think this is clear. If this is worldwide, uh-oh. Oh no. Oh no. Kids 12 and under rated at 91% positive. What? Where? Who does that? Who does that polling? Second worst debut in the studio's history. Yeah, that's an issue. It's an above average entry in the DreamWorks catalog. See, I think maybe they need some editing here. DreamWorks catalog with a particularly appealing title character. I personally found the film more enjoyable than any number of DreamWorks's, well, that time it's DreamWorks, other recent films. I wonder if that includes Puss in Boots too. Anyway, yeah, that's sad. That is very sad. Deadline has this dumb insight, that's their quote, not mine. Don't make animated movies that have unknown pro tags in the title and animation that looks like Strange World. I agree. That does come across as a pretty dumb take, and also very sad to me and cynical, I think, because what that quote is trying to emphasize, I think, is you need to have a known IP. Like you gotta have something that people already know. The brand strength needs to be there already. And that just straight up discourages original properties. That just completely discourages the idea of trying to come up with new stuff and trying to make a new a new property, a new IP that could potentially blossom into a big franchise. I mean, How to Train Your Dragon, no, it doesn't include any of the, the title characters. It doesn't include any of the movie's lead characters' names in the title. But that's one that was basically an unknown original property, as far as I know, and blew up completely. Just became this massive thing. And it's not like the name of the movie is only Ruby Gillman. That would be a big mistake. But no, they're giving you the hook. And it's also a very clear reference to, like, what era would this be? Like, I want to say, like, 50s, 60s sci-fi movies that are kind of corny and just are very premise heavy. Like something like I Was a Teenage Werewolf. I don't even know if that's a real movie, but regardless, it reminds me of that kind of vibe of corny, 50 sci-fi movies or creature feature movies. Anyway, headline here, it's not making a lot of money. It's really not making a lot of money. That's sad. We'll see if that factors into my DreamWorks video that I've been working on recently. But that is disappointing. I kind of had my fingers crossed for that one, even if it wasn't like, as big as the Mario movie, because apparently nothing can be, which is its own sadness. I wanted it to at least perform well and continue to prove to DreamWorks that, yeah, you can definitely make original stuff. It doesn't have to be stuff that's piggybacking on the popularity of Shrek that has endured somehow. It doesn't have to be a licensed franchise like Trolls. Trolls is its own discussion too. But anyway, kind of sad. Yeah, kind of sad that one's not doing as well as I was kind of expecting it to. Is there anything else here? Nah, I think I'm good on the rest of this stuff. But there is one other... I might take a look. But there is one other animation thing I wanted to talk about, and it's an adult animated show called... I don't like the Zelda music. This is not the right... It's not the right vibe. How about like Animal Crossing mix? How about that? Animal Crossing music mix. Because Nintendo doesn't publish any of their music officially, they tend to not copyright claim a lot of it. So that's why there's so many Nintendo music mixes on the internet. This is nice. Much calmer vibe, but either way. Okay. 10-year-old Tom, this is something that I only found out about very recently. A friend just straight up said, "Oh, I'm watching the show and it's really good," and I had never heard of it. It's not even brand new. Came out in 2021. That's an ice age ago. That's pandemic days, right? That's a world away, and I had never heard about it. So I don't even know. I assume it has been. I assume it's been broadcast live, right? On what, HBO, I guess? Yeah, HBO. I don't think is it an Adult Swim show? I'll have to look up more of the production details. But either way, hadn't heard about it. Had not heard about it at all. Oh, okay. It's been streaming the whole time, it looks like. It's decent. Long story short, I'll talk about some details in a little bit. But I wanted to talk to Lucas here as well. By the way, welcome back, Lucas. It's been a while. How you doing? Also, I watched a couple of your videos. I think a couple of your was it your MTG videos? I think I saw some of. Anyway, Lucas says All Saints Street got some new episodes. Oh, cool. Hang on, let me check. I feel like that's one that gets recommended to me all the time, and I just haven't. All Saints Street, Chinese webcomic written and illustrated. Okay, slice of life series, mythological beings. That sounds great. I have not watched this. Yep. Published by Bilibili. I have not seen a lot of their platform stuff at all. Do you know where you can watch that? Well, I think you're in. I think you're outside of North America, right? But if you know where you can watch that, maybe Crunchyroll. The internet is saying to me. Which is interesting because it doesn't strike me as anime right off the bat, but like, you know, if we're turning anime into East Asian animation in general, then like, sure, why not? Have you watched them? Has it been pretty good? Also, how long are the episodes usually? Is it like an 11-minute show, or like a half-hour show or something like that? But I'll add that to the list also here. This is the list for today. All Saints Street, alternately called All Saints Street 1031 and 1031 All Saints Street. Okay, so that number must have some kind of significance. Very cool though. I'll have to take a look at that. Okay. So yeah, I don't have a ton to share on 10-year-old Tom. I just wanted to bring up the fact that I had started watching it. And so far, it's been pretty decent, and has some great voice performances. By the way, I don't think that it's not a show like a lot of adult animation shows. It's not something that you watch specifically for like incredible animation. You know, it's TV animation. It's sort of lower budget. However, it's very funny. I think it has a decent sense of humor that clicks with me. It's not overly adult animation, if you know what I mean. It's not too Adult Swim for my taste. But yeah, it's pretty good, and it very specifically reminds me of home movies, which, I mean, I made a video about home movies a long time ago, and I think it's an okay video, but basically the comparison that I'm making here is that both home movies and 10-year-old Tom are both shows where the lead character is the creator of the show. In the case of home movies, the character and the creator have the exact same name. In 10-year-old Tom, they have different names. But either way, it's the creator of the show, the creative force behind the show, leading the whole thing, establishing the sense of humor, basically. And then just a cast of funny people to back them up. And have some fun with it. Home movies had a feel of a lot of improvisation. And I don't necessarily get that sense from 10-year-old Tom all the time. However, I still think it's very funny, and it's worth checking out if you're looking for some new adult animation to enjoy. But yeah, I just wanted to bring it up. I don't know if I'll make a video about it or not. but we'll see. And so far it's been really, it's a great watch. And it does make me a little bit nostalgic for the home movie days, because that's definitely a favorite show of mine. And it does feel dated, definitely nowadays, but I love it nonetheless, and I really enjoy rewatching those episodes, which I think are all on YouTube. Lucas says, "Yeah, I like it. Each episode is around 5 minutes long." Oh, that's great. It's really, really nice to have just a cruisy, quick show. I feel like there used to be quite a few of those back in the day too, meaning like 90s into the early 2000s, when I was starting to get into adult animation, we could say, and watching some of the Adult Swim stuff, and exploring that side of animation for the first time. Yeah, short shows I think can be really effective, and also probably very efficient in terms of production, right? Because you're just not spending as much money as you would be spending to make a half-hour show or whatever it is. And can you imagine an hour-long animated show? Does that even exist? Maybe Ugo knows. Maybe Lucas knows. Has there ever been an hour-long, like an animated TV show where the episodes were an hour long, and not specials, not one-offs, but like every single episode? Also, Lucas says, "Oh, also the new Superman cartoon aired." Hang on. Is it gonna give me the new one? My Adventures with Superman, is that it? Sorry, you're getting these killer keyboard sounds here. My Adventures with Superman sounds like the right one. Let's add it here. And add it here. My Adventures with Superman. Is with capitalized? No, it's not. I nailed it. Cool. Max. I'm getting used to calling it Max, even though I don't want to. Coming in at a strong 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. We like to see it, although you kind of wonder sometimes how many reviews it has total. It has quite a few. Okay, cool. All right. This person doesn't like it, but this is in Spanish, so I don't know what it says. I'll leave that up for a little bit. Also, Ugo is here. Welcome back, Ugo. So nice to see you. And Ugo says, "Good morning, people of the planted Earth." Well, I'm assuming planet, but I like planted Earth better, so I'm going to go with that, if that's okay. It is a planted Earth, if we're being honest. But yeah, this is another thing I wasn't even aware of. I know that DC... Do you guys agree with this, that DC has been performing much better in terms of animated shows for the last, 5 or 6 years as compared to their big, giant movie releases? Does that jive with you? Does that pass the smell test? That's definitely how I feel about it. I thought the Harley Quinn show, what I watched of it, was great. I made a very complimentary video about that whenever it was. What else have they had? I would love a revival of Teen Titans in the original style, meaning the style of the original show. I'm not familiar with any comics that might have come before. But either way, love the original Teen Titans, and I think there would be a huge audience of people around my age who would love to watch that stuff, who would love to get back to a more mature depiction of the Titans that's not live action. I know there's a live action show. I don't get the sense that has been especially successful. And Louis says, "I do prefer the animated Justice League movies." Yeah, totally fair. I think I would agree with you there too. But then again, did I watch the live action Justice League movie? I definitely watched the old show. I watched the old Justice League show back in the day. That was fun. That just felt like a Saturday morning cartoon. Nothing crazy. It was just fun. But yeah, I've definitely seen at least one of the animated movies at some point. And yeah, I don't think I saw the live action version, but every clip I saw, every review I saw of that movie and Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, it just didn't seem like it was for me. It was going for a different audience, and that's A-okay. But yeah, you know what? Just for kicks, let's read a couple of the snippets of the reviews for the new Superman show. Paste says more than anything. Sorry, the coffee's ruining my throat. My Adventures with Superman pulls the essence of Big Blue straight off the page. Is Big Blue a nickname for Superman? But molds him and his world into something compelling, original, and unique. Wow. Okay. New York Post, they get to be on here now? New York Post critics? It's nothing revolutionary or especially clever, but it's lighthearted and peppered with some amusing moments. Okay, so kind of a tepid approval of the show overall. A great animated series that brings Superman into, I think that should be into, sorry, I'm doing a lot of editing today, into Generation Z with a whole new take on his origin. Possessing a time, what are these sites? Can I have my, like, is my website that I don't use anymore enough authority to start putting reviews on Rotten Tomatoes? Like, I'm sorry, but why though? A geek community, Geeks of Color, Geek Girl Riot, Austin Burke, Flick Fan Nation, like, I'm sure they have some great stuff, and if they're coming up, good for them. They're getting a boost by being on Rotten Tomatoes. These are not household names. These are not. IGN is up there. Slash Film is kind of up there. Collider, Paste. I don't know. Anyway, that's just my old man critique there. I like this poster. Okay, so anime? So we're doing anime? Is that what the deal is? July 6th at midnight. This is an Adult Swim show. So, Lucas, have you seen these then? Or did you just hear you knew that the new episodes were out? Have you actually seen it? Because I would love to hear if it's doing, like, the fact that it's on Adult Swim, the fact that it has that particular time slot makes me think that it has some edgy adult animation humor. Is that the case? Or is it just fun? Just fun, goofy anime Spider-Man? I would be cool with that too. I did hear about this. Sorry, this is a detour. I was told about this show and I haven't watched it, but wow, is it not performing well? After a nervous breakdown, she's determined to claim her rightful status as the greatest and sexiest pop star in America. Okay, I'm done with that. That's enough of that. What do we got? Ugo says, yes, you can. You just have to fill out some papers. Thank you. Glad to know it. Issa, hey, it's been a while. It's good to see you back. Thanks for being here. Issa has a few things to say. Issa says, I like this show. I'm assuming Superman show, yes. I don't like Jimmy. Is that the kid? Is that one of these little kids? Kids in these kinds of shows always... Is that one? Is that Jimmy? With his little camera? And some lady? I hope that's not Lois Lane. She looks a little too young. I don't like Jimmy. I watched the first 2 episodes. No edge. It's very cute. Oh. Ugo says the first episode's on YouTube. Okay. I'll watch it. Also, Superman has this weird blue glow to him now. What is that about? Do you think I can watch a trailer for it without getting, like, annihilated by copyright robots? Hang on. Let me see. Maybe I can watch it on the other screen here, and it'll be okay. What is this called? My Adventures with Superman trailer, I guess. Yeah. We'll make it really quiet. Anime, thin lines. Definitely an emphasis on line work overall. But still it does still feel like American animation to me. Okay. I swear, if the copyright bots get this audio through my voice and the music, I give up. Okay, yeah, I don't think that girl is supposed to be a love interest, which is good news. But look how hip she is. Look how young and hip. How many views? Okay, about 460,000 views 1 month ago for the official trailer. Okay, so it's not incredible. But yeah, Issa, what you were saying about the fact that there's no edge, it's not trying to be an edgy Adult Swim show like, anything Adult Swim has ever put out. That's an interesting move for them. Do you think that's something that HBO kind of stipulated, where they're like, yeah, this is not a property that you make weird and edgy. Harley Quinn is a character you can do crazy stuff with, but not Superman. Superman's gotta be clean, good American boy slash alien. Either way, interesting. I'm very interested to check it out now. I think I have somebody's login to HBO Max. Fun fact, by the way, don't spread this around. Please don't tell anybody this, but this is a true thing. Well, previously, not true anymore. But I previously had the login to HBO Max that belonged to a Hollywood director who's fairly famous, and I'm not going to explain how that happened or, you know, why I decided to continue doing that. But I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not using this director's account anymore. And I'm happy about that. I feel better about that. Hang on, let me catch up on chat because we got a lot of stuff here. It's very cute. Issa says also super. Oh, we talked about the blue glow, which is strange, and I'll have to check that out in the show itself. But Issa says yes. That is Lois Lane. No, but okay. So okay, but it's not a love interest, right? Like they don't have romantic chemistry, right? She looks like she's 15. She looks like an intern. We're not doing that, right? Okay. Ugo says, I think they, as in WB, want to get more adult, and that's why they put it in Adult Swim and not on Cartoon Network. Also, I think that Cartoon Network is just going to die soon. Wait, you have to tell us more about that. Please tell us more about your theory on that. That's not something you can just drop. Give us the argument. Give us the reasons there. I don't know. I haven't gotten that sent, but I also haven't been super plugged into Cartoon Network for a while, so I don't know too much about it. Issa says, Jimmy just seems too perfect. Oh, is he a bit of a Gary Stu? He usually plays the straight man and doesn't really seem to have a lot of flaws, and I don't like that. Yeah, that sounds like... and by the way, I'm using someone else's joke there. So there's a term, Mary Sue, that refers to a character that's like too perfect, right? Maybe an author insert kind of character. But basically, yeah, just perfect, no flaws, and you're just supposed to like him overall. And that can, ironically, become unlikable. Gary Stu is a joke that another YouTuber named Neryl made that I really liked. It's like a male version of Mary Sue, but either way, I get that. And yeah, I tend to really not like those types of characters. But then again, I don't know if they're not aiming for a younger audience. I was going to say, if it's for kids, I kind of get it. But it doesn't sound like it's for kids at all. Kids are not going to be watching Adult Swim at midnight, or at least they're not supposed to be. I did. Studio MIR did the animation? Hang on, let me... Off to South Korea. Okay. Very common, of course, by the way, to outsource the actual animation production to Korea. Not so much Japan anymore. They have their own stuff going on, but Korea is very common today. Cool. I'm gonna look at some of their other projects as well. Legend of Korra. Oh, wow. And Boondocks. My goodness. Okay, so they are Kipo. Oh, Harley Quinn. Wow. Thank you for pointing that out, Lucas. This studio has just become one of my favorite studios by nature of their credits here. This is some big fish stuff. I love Kipo. I love I like Harley Quinn. Well, I have not seen Lego Elves: Secrets of Elvendale. I have seen Legend of Korra, and I mostly like it a lot. Okay. Issa says, Lois Lane is a love interest. That blows my mind. That makes me worried. And I think both Superman and Lois are kind of younger. Okay, yeah, I mean, he does look younger. He doesn't look young enough to me. Because, look, he still has this build. He's still, standard Superman physiology, right? So that's kind of throwing me off. And then it's like, is this dude also their age? Is this Jimmy, I assume? Or is he like a weird younger sidekick kind of character with his little messenger bag and probably Adidas here or Pumas? Do you think these are Pumas? This is why is it so low res, by the way? By the way, I have much better internet now, so the stream quality will improve. I think it's just my settings that are bad, which is why it still looks kind of blocky, but much, 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 much better internet now. I was talking about that at the beginning of the stream, so I'll be streaming more and doing stuff. Okay. Okay. Act younger. She is an intern, and so is Clark, as well as Jimmy. They're all okay, so they're all the same age. Okay, kind of cute, but even just this what this image communicates about their relationship is so awkward to me. So like he's doing some male gaze at very young Lois. I mean, obviously this, this hold is romantically coded, carry across the threshold kind of thing. I don't know who makes her shoes. I don't have a good read on that. But yeah, like his framing and the fact that he's staring directly at the viewer, it's so strange. He's like, "Hi guys," and they're just like, "We don't care." She's awestrucken by nature or something. I'm getting weird signals from this poster, but I am interested in watching the show. Is that a good wrap up for this whole thing? Okay, let me catch up here. Ugo says, kids do watch Adult Swim as it now starts around 7 p.m. or around that time. Adult Swim is just slowing, taking over Cartoon Network. Oh, so one is consuming the other, which is funny because, yeah, in the old days, it was very much the opposite, right? Adult Swim came on super late. You had to stay up really late just to watch it. Toonami and all that kind of stuff, right? 7 p.m. Yeah, that's like prime time slot on a weekday. That's like prime time viewing. So yeah, generally a wider audience as opposed to 1 or 2 a.m., which is a smaller audience typically. Okay, Issa says, I wouldn't call him a Gary Stu. I shouldn't call him perfect. He isn't infallible or anything. He just doesn't seem to have a big defining flaw like Lois and Superman do. Gotcha. And yeah, it is very important for every single superhero character to have the key flaws and not just like, physical weaknesses like kryptonite stuff, but beyond that, personality flaws, right? Like they can't just be a perfect person. That's not relatable. It's not relatable, and it doesn't tend to make for compelling storytelling in a lot of situations. Anyway, Ugo says the Lego Elves, Secrets of Elvendale is very boring. It's on Netflix. There are about 10 episodes, and it felt like it was 6 hours, but it does look good. Okay, I assume it's CG too, right? I think a lot of the Lego shows, because there's a Ninjago show that I've never touched, but I assume it's CG. But yeah, a lot of the stuff is 2D animation, which I think is neat. Yeah, they animated Kipo. That's so cool. I love Kipo. And some other things also. Okay, Issa says, Superman's a bit of a stick in the mud when it comes to following every moral, which sometimes stops him from looking at the big picture. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I like getting the read. I like getting the lowdown from you guys on what the show feels like. It is making me more excited to just try to watch the show. I don't know how many episodes are out already. I don't know if anyone mentioned that so far. Or if they just drop the whole season at one time, like a lot of the streaming services do. I mean, HBO doesn't do that quite as much. Either way, I would like to watch that soon, maybe later today. And yeah, okay. What else? Well, you know what? I think I just got an Amazon package, and it's relevant to streaming. So give me like 20 seconds and I'll go grab the package, and maybe I can set it up while we're streaming and talking because it's helpful for this. So give me one quick second. I'll leave the audio on. Got it. Still though, 100%. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes so far. What am I doing? I need to get rid of the clouds. Okay, what did I lose? A lot of stuff already. This is fun, by the way. I'm glad to be streaming again. Okay, Issa says, Lois, seems to be the opposite, caring too much about the greater good. Makes me think of Hot Fuzz every time. And not caring enough about how she accomplishes her goals. Oh. She lies to Clark to get him to help her, for example. Ugh. Okay, that's not the that's not the vibe I've been getting from her character design. That she's sort of questionable in her methods. What is it? Ugo says the elves. Oh, the elves Lego show is 2D. They don't look like Lego. Just look at the images. If you look it up, it looks good. But don't let that fool you. You will fall asleep. Well, you know what, Ugo? The thing is, that's very funny, and I get it. But beyond that, it's kind of nice to have shows that put me to sleep at this point, because sometimes I have trouble with that. But yeah, I don't. The Lego programming outside of like movies and some of the video games, I'm just not a big fan of. And I'm just out of touch. I used to be big into Lego when I was a kid, and I got the magazine, which was really just a catalog. It was like, oh, here's stuff you can buy this month. And it would take, that was back in the days when it took a long time for packages to come in the mail. If you ordered a Lego set through the catalog, like physically, you would mail the paper slip with payment or something, or call the phone line with your credit card information, which is a bad idea. And then it would be like weeks. It would be a few weeks until it actually showed up. And I have very vibrant memories of, actually finally getting the Lego package I was waiting for. That's like, yeah, very strong memories of that stuff. Okay, here we go. Look, I got it. Now we're real internet people, streaming people. We got got a microphone boom arm. I got a mid-range one because I didn't want the cheapest one, but it should actually work for this mic. So who knows? Maybe I can set this up right now and see how it flies. Anyway, Issa says, and Shaw once. What is this? Sorry, I don't know what SHW is. Wants Superman to give her. She. I think it's just she for Lois. Okay, and she wants Superman to give her all his secrets without considering why he might not want to do that. And she wants to make Superman spell all his. Oh. Because just by nature of her being like a reporter woman? Does she? I assume she knows he's Superman based on this poster. It seems like she's, made the connection. Based on his appearance and costume and everything. Even that part isn't super believable. Ever, is it? The idea of like, oh, Clark Kent looks completely different. He could be anybody. It definitely doesn't look like Superman. Like, that's just nonsense. He just says, yeah, okay, I'm glad I got it right. You think I can set up this mic arm without ruining anything? She doesn't know Clark is Superman, unfortunately. Oh, weird. Oh, so they're still doing that. They're still doing, like, just nobody knows. They never see them in the same room together, but they just assume they're different people. Okay. All right. Seems a little old-fashioned to me, but whatever. Oh, yeah. Don't I have this Animal Crossing song for the videos? I think I use this in videos a lot. Yeah. I need some new music for videos, by the way. I've been thinking about going to one of those sound libraries where you subscribe. I wish you didn't have to subscribe, but might do one of those. We'll see. Wow, this is taking a long time to. There's a really funny joke about that in the Brainiac movie. Okay. Yeah, and I think it's been a point of comedy for a long time too. It's just like how goofy it is that either, okay, he put on his glasses, he looks like a completely different person. Or in even the Incredibles movies, right? Where they have just I don't even know what you call that, but the black thing that goes around your eyes and I guess around the back of your head. I guess they call it a mask, but it's not a full mask. It's just like an eye mask. Sounds like an Apple product. Oh no, is this not? Oh no. If this bracket isn't large enough to get around the desk, what am I gonna do? Oh, it's not a problem I expected to encounter, but I should have thought about it. All right. Yeah, there's no way. I think it's a cowl. That sounds right. Thank you, Issa. I do think that's correct. That sounds very correct to me. So what do we do then if it doesn't fit? Okay, we might have to do a sketchy solution here. So if everything falls, that's just what happens. Anyway, cool. Okay, new Superman show. I will try to check out. And I was just about to ask what else people have been watching, but Lucas has got my back already. Lucas says the new season of Jujutsu Kaisen came out, and it seems to go more into the backstories of the adults. Very cool. That's actually one that I haven't. Hold on. That's actually one that I haven't gotten to yet. But it is one. It's one that I only. Obviously, it's a big famous anime, so there's that side of it. But beyond that, yeah, there's a channel I watch where it's this woman, and I think she lives in Tokyo, and she's just a big otaku kind, and collects a lot of figures and anime merch and stuff, and she's big into Jujutsu Kaisen, and just loves it and gets a bunch of figures for the show and stuff. So that's how I'm aware of it, basically. But I have not watched it. I assume it's on one of my anime streaming services, so I'll have to try that out soon. But it looks neat. It just looks like fun, good action stuff, adventure stuff. How do you feel about it overall, Lucas? Is it like a top 10 for you of anime specifically, or is it just like this is a good new anime, like a good recent anime kind of thing? Issa says a lot of people are making jokes about Lois and Jimmy looking like Luz and Gus from the Owl House. I get that. I can definitely see why. And Issa's watched it. Okay. That's funny though. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I used to watch the Owl House. I watched that for a little while. It's pretty good. I have not kept up with it at all. It's really good overall. Jujutsu Kaisen or the Superman show, Issa? Sorry, I know it's tough to keep track. Why are they just showing my... Wait, what? Did I open an Explorer folder? You guys saw my video folders and video game folders. Okay, how am I gonna do some problem solving with this bracket here? But that is disappointing. I really should have checked the specs on this. If I had it sideways, I could put it sideways on one of the legs of the desk. Would it be able to flex the way I need it to then? I feel like no. Let's see. I feel like definitely not. Man, if this just spun around, that would be so helpful. Oh man, I don't want to return this. I really don't want to have to return this. Maybe we could do it that way. I don't think that's how you're supposed to do it, but we can try it. Yeah, we'll give it a try. Lucas says amazing animation, good characters, cool magic system, and a pretty good story. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, I mean that sounds like something I would be into. Yeah, I it's pretty rare that I know about the new good anime as soon as it comes out. I don't know if you guys seem to know the new stuff right away, so you maybe can't relate. But typically I miss out on the new good things for the most part. One that I did get to relatively quickly, I guess, is Spy Family, and Spy Family is just fantastic overall, and it's so likable that I'm not surprised that it's become so basically mainstream, you know, even here in the West. Uh, whoops. But yeah, I typically don't find out about the good stuff until after it's really been out for a while and it's more established, you know? So yeah, I should just check out Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm also just guessing with the pronunciation, basically. This is stupid. This is stupid. Yeah, this microphone arm might not be the one for us. This is very dumb the way I have it set up. I don't think. Okay. Anyway, but very cool about Jujutsu Kaisen. I'll try to take a look. Do you know any obscure superheroes that you actually like that aren't just obscure because they suck? Probably not. Probably not. When I was much younger, I kind of followed some of the superhero stuff. I was never like a comics guy. I never went out and bought, weekly comics at the store or anything like that. I was aware that it existed, but I didn't tend to do that stuff. Oh boy, how are we gonna do this? It's part of the fun. Part of the fun of a live stream. Here, I'm gonna mute. Are we back? Audio's back. Okay. This is very dumb. Can you see? I guess you guys can't really see this. So instead of the mic arm coming like up and over like this, which is what it's supposed to do, it's coming up and under. And it looks very dumb. And there's really not a lot of room to like adjust it or anything. So I don't think we're going to stick with this setup for very long, but just for the sake of the stream, I think this is fine. Issa's favorite obscure superhero is the Max, who I don't know, so I'm going to have to look it up. A vagrant, a homeless man living in a box. While in the outback, he's the powerful protector of the Jungle Queen. Wow, what an opening to that description. MTV animated series of the same name. My goodness. What a combination of words. Cool. All right. Yeah, I mean, definitely obscure to me for sure. I had never heard of this particular hero. Type of hero is amnesiac protector. That's very specific. I like the idea that that's a whole category of heroes. Yeah, no, I wasn't super aware of any like obscure superheroes. I do know some obscure villains. There's some really good obscure Batman villains and Spider-Man villains. But I think that's specifically because they suck, Big Wheel, right? Big Wheel is a big one. Calendar Man, I still think is one of the funniest just names and ideas for a superhero villain that I've ever heard of. Like, come on now. Calendar Man. It's so dumb. It's so stupid, and it sounds so stupid. But I think he had like a cameo appearance in some of the Batman Arkham games, actually, which is sort of interesting because it's definitely a deep cut. I don't think he's super famous. Issa says that the Max had a 10-episode animated series and deserved a second season, but it didn't get one due to how obscure it was. Yeah, if it just didn't have the numbers, I guess they would skip it. And also says it couldn't adapt the whole comic, but I really wish it did. Talking about Know the Wheel, great. No Calendar Man, give me one I don't know. Oh, I don't think I could do it. Do you know about Dinosaur, Vegetable, Mineral Man? Are those all different ones, or is that one? I hope that's just one. Oh, sorry, it's actually Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man. Don't worry, Google's got us here. Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man is a fictional character appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics. He is a foe of the original Doom Patrol. The character made his first live adaptation on the... Made his first live adaptation. That's not right. On the first season of the Doom Patrol television series on DC Universe, played by Alec Mapa. Okay. Cool. Abilities: chimeric shapeshifting and high intelligence, and he is a metahuman, in case you're wondering. That's just one guy. Yeah, this is definitely obscure to me. I am not familiar with this one at all, although there is a video on YouTube called Stupid Criminal of the Week, Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man. Which is great. Awesome. Cool. Well, if you have any more, but yeah, like I said, I just wasn't into comics that much. My exposure to superhero stuff from the age of like 6 to 20 was probably just like shows, animated shows in particular, right? So Teen Titans was a huge one for me. Old Justice League cartoons. I feel like I watched Batman the Animated Series for a while too. That was pretty big on the WB in the olden days. But that was it. That was my exposure. I wasn't watching the old Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. I was not watching even the early Marvel stuff. I think I maybe watched Iron Man, when that was new and cool. But I didn't keep up with Marvel for a while after that. So there's a lot of stuff that I just flat out missed out on, and especially the actual comics, like the source material stuff for everything. I just didn't touch for the longest time until eventually I had some friends, I guess in high school or college. I had some friends who were super into like Batman, or one was super into Spider-Man, and they would be like, oh, here are the good story arcs. Here's the good Alan Moore stuff. Here's Killing Joke, for example. And like, oh, you can borrow my copy of Killing Joke and just have a great time. And then that is a really good one. I like Killing Joke a lot, of course. But yeah, so it was very limited exposure to that stuff for a long, long time. And now I'm generally ambivalent or positive. About superhero stuff, I think at this point. Obviously, the Marvel boom is sort of waning, I would argue. I think it's kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily on the way out, but it definitely has plateaued to a certain degree. You can only be the biggest thing in movies for so long, I guess. But yeah, the like this new Superman series that we're talking about, or other animated projects that feel smaller scale, I'm much more likely to get into. I think I give them more leeway, and I'm more interested in the ideas that they're trying to pull off, as opposed to the ideas presented by a big, giant, huge, blockbuster movie project, like the Justice League movie, or Batman v Superman, or Aquaman, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway. Another genuinely cool obscure villain is Issa. Oh, did Issa leave us hanging on that one? They tried to make him a commentary or warning against what will happen to you if you took drugs. Oh, Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man. But I think they just made him too cool and didn't show any drawbacks to his cocaine usage. Okay. I guess they kind of screwed the pooch on that one then, I guess. Yeah, he just looks insane. Yeah. Ugo says James Gunn's brother was in the Suicide Squad as Calendar Man. That's great. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, the Suicide Man was obviously digging super into goofy stuff, right? Tons of obscure guys really weird heroes in that one. That was that movie's whole shtick. So I totally get that, and I don't think I ever saw that one either. I know it reviewed really well, and people seem to really like it. But yeah, it's I just missed it completely. There we go. Sorry, had to catch up on people yelling at me. You know what else I'm getting today? I'm getting a new microphone. I like this microphone a lot. It's the Blue Yeti. It's the old one when they were better. And I got it like 2014. I think I got it in 2014. So I've had it for a good long while. And I'm just looking to upgrade a little bit. So I got a nicer microphone coming in. We'll see how that goes. If I can find a way to make this this boom arm work, awesome. But otherwise, it's going to be very hard to use a new microphone. Anyway, Gil's here. Welcome back. How's it going? It's been a little while, but thanks for coming to the stream. And Gil asks, considering the small rise of stylized animation, have you considered reviewing the originator studio Mikros? And Gil also says that the Suicide Squad is fair enough. Yep, still haven't seen that one, so I can't share my thoughts on that. But yeah, I definitely get the sense that people liked it a lot more than Suicide Squad without the. So, Mikros. Let's see. Anyway, so yeah, talking about stylized animation in general, it is a pretty broad topic, I think. I mean, I do agree with the idea that it's an upward trajectory, right? So, and this is something I talked about. What video was that? I think it was the one. It was very clickbaity too, I feel. It was the video where I was talking about like, oh, is Disney kind of falling behind in the animation game? Because Disney's output, especially in feature films, compared to that of Pixar, compared to that of Sony Animation, compared to even Warner Animation Group and a few other, animation studios and what do we say? Not publishers, but distributors of animated movies. We're really going for it. Spider-Verse is one of the ones that has just taken so much, has garnered so much attention. And it felt like it broke down some walls. It felt like it was doing incredibly new things on a technical level, but also in a way where the average person could tell. The average person noticed it. So that video was just saying, like, I don't get that sense from Disney animated movies anymore. Obviously they look fantastic. They're gorgeous. They're rendered beautifully. Like, they're extremely high horsepower in terms of the technology and talent required to create them. But beyond that, especially in terms of art direction and movement and everything, they're not doing a whole lot. And Pixar is, I think they are sticking to a particular look, but they are doing new-ish things. Versus, oh boy, Sony with the Spider-Verse stuff, or even the Lego movie arguably was a really cool new look, a very new art style. And what else? Oh, Puss in Boots, obviously, DreamWorks. Like, my gosh, what a leap forward in terms of what art direction can be in CG animation and how well it can be executed. And then, of course, if we go into TV animation and 2D animation, anime is all over the map with incredibly stylized animation. Not 100% of the time, but a lot of the shows seem like they are allowed to be very stylized. Sorry. So long story short, yeah, I had kind of previously touched on the topic in another video. I would like to talk about, I've never heard it pronounced actually, Micros, I'm guessing Micros. I'm passingly familiar with a lot of their work, but it would be neat. I do think it's fun to talk about a specific animation studio, especially when you have positive things to say. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of a drag when you're making. I don't want to make enemies of actual real life people working in animation. So I don't like to make videos saying like, oh, this particular studio is just awful, and I think they're really bad, and they're not doing anything right. I don't I don't think I would do that. But saying positive things about a particular studio, I think could be a lot of fun, and helpful maybe in a way, or especially if you're bringing more attention to the work that they've put out. People have done that for Cartoon Saloon, and I think it makes perfect sense. Like, they're still less obscured these days, but they were still slightly obscure a few years ago. And, people outside of the animation community didn't know their stuff that well. Now more people do, and that's great. Anyway, so I think that's a neat idea. We'll see. I guess in general, I'll just put Mikros in my list of things for the stream. But yeah, that's that for now. And now I need to get caught up on everything else because there's a lot of stuff. Isa mentions Nimona. I talked about Nimona very early on in the stream, but I don't even know if anybody was here. But so I'm aware of Nimona's origins at Blue Sky. I'm aware that Disney said, don't make it. And it appears that Disney may have said that specifically because of gay content, which is wild. It's wild, especially considering Disney's public-facing stance on gay content, LGBTQA stuff in movies and representation in movies. I have not watched it yet. Apparently, it's not performing super well on Netflix. It's doing okay on Netflix so far. It's doing very well with critics, so I do expect it to get some kind of Oscar attention towards the end of the year, but we'll have to wait to see that. But yeah, that's definitely one where as soon as I watch it, I would definitely want to make a video about it. So that's there, and just so that people know, I'll add it to the list. But yeah, I was talking about that much earlier. Okay. Lucas asks, have you seen the Playground trailer? No, I haven't. What is it? Let's take a look. And I would also kind of like to do it would be fun to do a live reaction here, but I don't know. I assume I would get some kind of copyright claim. So I'll just watch a few clips here, scrub through. Okay, so this looks to be what? Original internet animation, right? Okay. Ongoing project. Okay, cool. So a guy who's a professional animator, and this is just like a passion project of his, it seems. High detail, strong line work again, very thin lines. That's very stylish now. Okay, sort of gory stuff, a little bit of Cronenberg influence, I suppose. Lovely use of perspective in a lot of this. I guess the easy word to use would be trippy. But I don't know. I think that can be too easy sometimes. But it looks very fun. So is this a full feature, or is this just like a short film that's 20 or 30 minutes? I mean, cool either way, and I would like to check it out, but I'm just wondering. Because we had that with the Mad God, too, right? There was an industry professional who was like, I really want to make this stop-motion movie with a bunch of creepy images. And it just took a really long time, because if it's not your job, it takes a long time to make stuff. Kind of reminds me of a little bit of Felix Colgrave work. Different style, obviously, different vibe, but just the level of detail, I guess, and some of the imagery kind of reminds me of Colgrave stuff. But very cool. Thanks for bringing it up, Lucas. I'll add it here as well, just so it's there. All right. Okay, where are we? Yeah, I need to cruise through. But Issa asked if you heard of Nimona. Talked about the new original Netflix movie. People seem to love it, and so do I, even if I think the graphic novel it was based off is better. Okay, so it is based off a graphic novel. Wasn't aware of that. It's about a shape-shifting, chaotic little red-haired girl called Nimona who wants to be the sidekick to the villain, Bullistor Blackheart. Gotcha. Ugo says the pursuit of making money is the only reason to make movies. We have no obligation to make history. Yeah, isn't that... is that a Michael Eisner quote? I think it's a Michael Eisner quote, right? When he was still head of Disney. I'll finish it here, though. We have no obligation to make art. Our obligation is to make money, and to make money, it may be necessary to make history, art, or some significant statement. Yeah, I think I heard that one through a Lindsay Ellis video a million years ago. I forget which one. But I believe it's Michael Eisner, and it's around the time of the Disney animation renaissance. But it could easily be a Bob Iger quote, I think. He says, so what are we going to talk about after Superman? Oh, we're all over the map. We're all over the map. We're talking about all kinds of things. We've been talking about screens. Oh yeah, I should change the screen around. Sorry. Look, isn't it great though that I can do internet browsing? While on a stream, that was not possible before. Anyway, yeah. So I was talking about some of the animation news here, and it's okay. I talked about 10-year-old Tom very briefly. It reminds me of home movies, so that's why we had all this stuff pulled up. Still blown away by the success of the Mario movie, by the way. I was comparing this to the opening box office weekend of Ruby Gilman, the new DreamWorks movie, which performed very poorly. That had a box office opening of 5-point-something million. Mario movie opened to 146 million. Domestically, not worldwide. So it's a lot. There's a large gap between these two. There's kind of a gap. Anyway, but yeah, that's some of the stuff we were talking about earlier. Superman's there last. Yeah, let's get rid of Superman. We don't need that anymore. And yes, I did hear about this. Paramount is cutting quite a bit of stuff. They're cutting that Star Trek animated show, which I hadn't watched. It was more for kids. But let's see what else they're cutting here. Becca's Brunch, haven't heard. Becca's Bunch, Digby Dragon, Monsters vs. Aliens, Peter Rabbit, Pig, Goat, Banana Cricket, and Star Trek Prodigy. Okay, so I haven't heard of them, which I guess says something on its own about the popularity of these shows, maybe. It's still sad, and it does seem to be a move that coincides with like, oh, this is what we do now. We're a streaming service. We want tax cuts. So if a show just isn't quite up to snuff, or if it's not a huge, massive hit, forget it. We'll count it as a tax write-off, basically. It was huge news when Warner HBO did that, right? And they cut some really fantastic shows, even to be available for streaming. I don't think Paramount is going so far as to remove the existing seasons from the service. I don't think. Or maybe they are. Yeah, maybe they are. The removing really does imply that they're just straight up taking them off the platform. Yeah. I agree with Amid's points here. Anyway. Issa says, yes, that's nice. Anarasumanara. Okay. I assume it's a reference to something, but let me know, Issa. Ugo says, yes, you're right. Michael Eisner, 1981. Okay, so I don't think he was head of Disney by that point, right? I think he was still just a guy at the company or maybe elsewhere in entertainment by that point. But yeah, interesting. A really iconic quote, or maybe infamous quote. It's famous for the wrong reasons, that one. But definitely says a lot about Disney philosophy, and it probably carries through to today pretty darn well, unfortunately. Anyway, unrelated, but I had this pulled up because I've been considering getting the Rift Apart PC port, maybe for the full $60. We'll see. And I was just going to ask, I don't know if anybody's played it, but if someone's played it, please let me know if it's like worth it to buy for full price, because I've been looking forward to it, and I even considered getting a PS5 just to play this and a few other things. But I don't know. I haven't played it myself, so I don't know if it's worth the cash. So that's all. That's why I had the tab open. But yeah. Lucas asks, have you seen Anomalisa? And if so, is it any good? I'll try to keep this brief. So long story short, when I was in college, I was a big fan of Charlie Kaufman. Charlie Kaufman is, of course, the screenwriter who also directed Anomalisa. He's mostly a screenwriter. Adaptation is one of the most famous ones. He wrote and directed a movie called Synecdoche, New York. Big, long career. Worked with Spike Jonze for a long time. I don't know why I'm blanking on all his other movies. But regardless, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind is a script he wrote, and it was directed by George Clooney. Not a great movie, but I still like it. Stars Sam Rockwell. Sort of based on a true story. Anyway, I was a big fan of Charlie Kaufman and just like weird meta storytelling. And so when I was still in college, they announced that they were doing a Kickstarter. They they were doing crowdfunding for Anomalisa, and they were Dan Harmon was involved, I think, at that point even, because it was going to be Starburn Studios, I think, who have done, a bunch of stop motion, and I did Moro Oro, I believe, or some form of that studio did. So anyway, multiple people involved in the project that I really liked. And so I gave my Kickstarter money for enough money for like a copy of the movie when it came out, and I think like a poster or something like that. Long story short, apparently I think the Kickstarter met its goal, but it wasn't nearly enough money for the project to actually move forward and be completed. And that's probably just because stop motion animation is very expensive and time consuming. That's one and the same, but you know what I mean. It takes a long time, and anything that takes a long time costs a lot of money. So it was it was years and years before it actually came out. They got funding from other sources. When it came out, I didn't get my stuff. As far as I know, I never received my copy of the movie. I never received my little poster or whatever I was supposed to get. Unless that was just lost in the shuffle or something. They never gave me my Kickstarter stuff, which is very disappointing and confusing. But to get to the movie itself, I do like it a lot. It's not my favorite, like, Charlie Kaufman project overall. I think the art direction is fantastic. I think it's a great looking movie, and there are moments, especially at the beginning, where you almost think it's just real people. You're just like, oh, that looks like a person. Between the lighting and the way they design the faces, you can almost believe that it's just a completely, just a live action film. Storytelling's interesting, very much Charlie Kaufman style. Existentialism in a way, definitely postmodern critique of the modern world and all that kind of stuff. Not my favorite. I do like it a lot. I definitely recommend a watch if you can get it somewhere for free, or like just one of your existing subscriptions offers it. Maybe HBO has that one. I'm not quite sure where that one landed in terms of streaming. But yes, overall, I do have positive impressions or sort of memories of the movie, despite the fact that they didn't give me my stuff. I don't know why that happened, but yes, that's that. Ugo says, the first thing I thought about in Nimona is the same thing from Strange Worlds. Where do they get all their stuff? Is it a one city world, and who does the mining? How does money work in those worlds? Oh, they don't want to. I mean, come on. I get it. And that's something I think a lot with like Star Trek stuff, Star Trek movies and shows, is you kind of want to have more of the world building and you want to understand more about the world, but it's not, they don't tend to give you a lot in that area. And especially for something like Strange Worlds, like I just don't think there's time. There's just not a lot of time to do so much establishment, to do so much world building. And especially in that one, I think the explanation, the blanket explanation, is just supposed to be technology. This one dude came up with all this awesome technology, and the technology does everything we need it to do. Because the ultimate point of the movie, of course, without getting into spoilers, it's like, oh, there are detriments to exploiting natural resources. There are detriments to letting, to advancing technology to such a degree that we are no longer in sync with the natural world. So I kind of get it for that one specifically, that they didn't really delve into it, but I also totally understand why you would have those thoughts and feelings, during the movie. I like world building a lot. Issa says, unfortunately, I've not played it, Rift Apart, and Issa has said Anarasa Manara again, which I assume is I guess I should just Google it, and then I'll get this great reference. And Gil has a helpful summary saying that Anomalisa is a Charlie Kaufman movie, and that is everything you need to know. That's everything you need to know if you know Charlie Kaufman already, right? Like that's a good way to put it, is like if you've seen Adaptation, if you've seen, Synecdoche, New York especially, yes. And then what his most recent movie that he directed, of course, was I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is one that I should probably revisit. I did make a video about it whenever that came out. But yeah, it's a whole thing. I do like his style. I think I liked it more when I was a little bit younger. But I still have a lot of respect for what he does. And, and I enjoy his movies a lot. Synecdoche, New York is a great watch, by the way, if you just want to feel awful all the time. And this is Sound of Magic. which is what Issa was talking about. So there you go. I don't know it at all. I assume it's Korean. Digital comics webtoon. Okay. But also a musical, so maybe it's a couple different things. Either way, there you have it. Sorry, there's a lot of wow, someone's been sending me a lot of text messages. I just need to catch up. How do you guys feel about Wes Anderson these days? I mean, I guess it's kind of animation related, of course, because he's done a few. But beyond that, what do you think? Has anyone seen Asteroid City? If not, that's fine too. I think this is probably what you're talking about, right, Issa? But yeah, someone's talking to me about someone's talking to me about Isle of Dogs, and just yesterday I watched French Dispatch. Rewatched French Dispatch. I had seen it before, and I tell you, I was this close to making a video about a month ago, saying that I'm just kind of over the Wes Anderson thing. I appreciated it for such a long time, and I got so much value out of his particular style, and I just don't anymore. Like it's starting to kind of make me sad that he doesn't. He is advancing. He is changing small things here and there and taking on different kinds of stories, sort of. But so much has remained the same that I do feel kind of disappointed that it's not expanding. He's not really doing different things in a big way. He's not trying completely new styles at all. I at this point I don't think he ever will, and that does make me sad. Just because he's clearly such a creative person and a skilled person, and he works with all these incredible people on his teams. I think it would be great to see something new and different, but he just seems completely content to continue doing the same thing for the rest of his career. And whatever, people continue to really enjoy his stuff, and that's fine by me. I will continue to, watch his movies, but I like to see progression. I like to see development and evolution in an artistic career, and that's just not what we're getting right now. So I do feel a little disappointed about that. Anyway, Issa, I guess this is what Issa was referring to, and I'm not familiar with it, but I mean, I'll add it to the list, and I'm going to copy paste because I don't want to type all that. But yeah, Korean webtoon sounds neat. Just based on this, the art looks cool too. But it seems like stuff isn't loading here. Yeah, sort of the website's having some issues, I guess. But that's fine. Gil says, I like what I've seen of him, not Asteroid. You are not the only one. Yeah, totally believe it. I'm sure that there are dozens of other videos on YouTube right now of people saying the exact same thing, which is part of why I didn't end up making that, I think. Yeah, and I think it's just a matter of when you reach that point with Wes Anderson movies. It's just probably different for everyone. If you're brand new to his stuff, it's really exciting, and I think it stays exciting for a long time. And there's so much comfort in having that consistent, super consistent style. And I do think the style is specifically supposed to be comfortable for the viewer. So much of the color palettes and the way things are staged and camera movement, it's very nice, especially for OCD people like me. It's super comforting. But it does get old. It does get old, and now that I've been following his work for, I don't know, 15 plus years, it's lost its luster, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's that. Anyway, do we dare look at the Rotten Tomatoes page for Asteroid City? Issa says, do you know what you call a cat that face plants in a teacup? A kitty. But what if it's an adult cat? Does it still work? This is something we'll have to discuss. 73 gets a certified fresh. 62 audience. Oh, so in that case, maybe everybody feels exactly the same way that I do. Asteroid City is unlikely to win Wes Anderson many new converts, but those who respond to his signature style will find this a return. A return to form? Excuse me? Was there a point when he departed from form? Asteroid City is classic Wes Anderson, which may or may not be a compliment depending on how you feel about his other films. Wow. Okay. All right. Gil says, nah, some people say that the focus so much on the style that he starts to lose the character's emotions. And then also, yes. I agree with the yes. Yeah, well, but that's the thing is, like, even since, like, Royal Tenenbaums, Bottle Rocket is its own thing. Rushmore is whatever. Royal Tenenbaums, you really have the style, the performance style that I think is carried through pretty much to this day, right? Where it's very deadpan, especially for our lead characters, even if they're expressing something sort of... Thank you, Truck. Even if they're expressing something very serious, it tends to be very flat. It tends to be incredibly dry. The humor is also very dry. And I think there is a lot of value in that because in a way it can kind of heighten the emotion of a particular scene. Like you just get the sense that there's restraint, you know, either restraint or just total honesty. I love how in a lot of his movies there are characters who will just say how they feel immediately. And they're not yelling about it. They're not screaming about how they feel. They just say something. I was watching, French Dispatch, and one of the characters, they tell the character, "Oh, go and introduce yourself to the class," and the character just says, "Oh, I don't want to do that." Right? It's not in a self-conscious way, but it is vulnerable. It's very honest and it's very immediate, but it's all within that very flat performance style. And I don't know. I don't see that changing just based on the trailers for Asteroid City. It does seem incredibly flat, like even more so than usual. But I don't know. I guess I'll just have to watch the thing and make my own decision on it, come up with my own feelings on the situation. But I would agree with that. I do think there's a danger of losing character emotion if you stick so rigidly to a particular style of performance. And we know it's coming from him. Like all of these actors have done other stuff and have had completely different performance styles, but in his stuff they sound very similar. It's very much by design. So I don't know. We will see. I am not too surprised that it seems to be kind of a middling reception overall for this one. So there you have it. Yeah. Ugo says the hotel was the best. Budapest Hotel. Right? Grand Budapest Hotel, sorry. Ugo also says Life Aquatic and The French Dispatch were both good as well. Yeah, I like almost all of them fairly well. They're not all complete favorites of mine, but they're great. Apparently people hate The Life Aquatic. People do not. I think it reviewed very poorly too. Let's take a look. Yeah, very poorly. People like it. Critics were like, nah. Nah. So, interesting. Also, Darjeeling Limited is one of my personal favorites, and I do not think it performed very well. I love it. I think that was the first one I saw too, and I really, really love that movie. So, here's the deal, fellas. As I mentioned oh my gosh, it's almost been 2 hours. As I mentioned way at the beginning of the stream, the internet problem is fixed now. I switched providers. It's literally 15 to 20 times faster overall than the old internet that I had. That's good news for uploading stuff to the channel, and it's good news for streaming. I still have to mess around with my streaming settings because it still looks ugly for some reason. I don't know why. It should not. It really should not. So I will be streaming consistently. I just have to pick a day. I'm working 4 jobs. I don't know which day is good yet. I'm guessing it would be like Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I don't know. Maybe on the weekend. Weekend could be safe. But I'm gonna try to nail down a day. I'll post it in the thing, or I'll just start doing the streams at that time and let people know. But unfortunately for right now, my voice is going. I have not talked for this long for months. And my voice is just not doing it. So I don't want to do any more damage. But I promise that I will be streaming more, and I'll be streaming on a weekly basis when I pick that right time. Yeah, and I'll get back to videos as soon as I can. So, anyway, I'll do my best. I'll do my best. Thank you guys so much for showing up today and hanging out. This has been one of the most enjoyable streams in a long time, I think. And thank you to anybody watching the VOD of this later on. I really, really appreciate it. And I would even like to stream longer too for certain times, but I'm just not ready yet, I guess. And I don't always have the time, so we'll see. So I'll wrap it up. But Lucas says a new Ghibli film is coming out soon. That's great. I don't know anything about it, and I don't think I want to yet. I kind of want to be surprised by what that turns out to be. I assume it's directed by Miyazaki and not his son this time. So we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, Hugo says grab the post-apocalyptic RPG Wasteland 3, free at Robot Cash. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we were talking about Wasteland on Discord, right? Also, there's a Discord. I don't know. I have to do an invitation link again. I'll have to figure that out. But it does exist if anybody's interested in that. Ugo is there. We talk there a lot. But yeah, I was asking him whether Wasteland 2 or Wasteland 3 is better. And apparently Wasteland 3 is the way to go. So I'm going to put it here. Robot Cash? Is that a site or something? I'll take a look. Okay. Bye. I like Goro. You like her? Fair enough. Goro's doing his own thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But Miyazaki Sr. is not a big fan of Goro. Apparently. Okay. All right. We're there. We're done. Again, yeah, thanks everybody so much. I'll be returning when I can, but in the meantime, have a lovely weekend. Do some relaxing, which you should do. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by.